Today on Locked On Rockies, according to the Colorado Rockies, the last time the Rockies scored a run at Petco Park was on August 4th, 2024 in the seventh inning, thanks to a solo home run by Jacob Stallings. It's September 12th, 2025.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 12th day of September in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies, just like so many of you all have done that. And like Felix says, what a bummer series, Paul. I agree. I'm tired of seeing the Dodgers dance on us and hit these crazy home runs, and we just sit there and take it. Unbelievable. Well, it didn't get any better as the Rockies did not score a run. The Rockies have now gone 2 straight games without scoring a run. And as I mentioned in the beginning part of the cold open, as we like to call it in the biz, the Rockies haven't scored a run at Petco Park in over a year. Before we dive into that, before we dive into the same stuff that we've had all year long, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. Just tell me how you guys are reacting to this. Rockies lose to the Padres 2-0. This is their 4th time being shut out in San Diego this season. The last run they scored at Petco Park came on August 4th, 2024 in the 7th inning, thanks to a solo home run by Jacob Stallings. Not a single run scored in San Diego in over a year. Chalk up another stat that can only belong to the team that continues to rack up nothing but embarrassment after embarrassment after embarrassment after embarrassment. A full calendar year has passed since the last time the Rockies scored a singular run on the road in San Diego. If that does not cause every alarm fire, oh my, there should just be so many alarms and red flags and everything going out throughout the organization, because it just continues. Boom, bam, they just punch you over and over and over in the face with embarrassing stats and continuing to be the only team in Major League Baseball history that did this. Worst start of all time, on track to be the worst team ever, worst run differential, worst pitch starting rotation ever, most amount of games consistently trailing. Embarrassment, 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 embarrassment. And there's what analysis do we want to take away from the Rockies in this back-to-back shutouts? Oh, guess what? They struck out another, 12 times? 9 strikeouts from Vasquez, the starter, 2 strikeouts from Estrada, 2 strikeouts from Miller, and a strikeout from Suarez to close the game. 14 strikeouts as the Rockies can't seem to find their way to have any sort of success right now on the offensive side. They are lost, and they are not doing anything as an organization to help them get anywhere close. They're outmatched. They're outgunned. Every single level, the Rockies are outmatched, and it is on full display here, and it hasn't gotten anywhere close to better. We are watching what was a promising second half crater and crumble. We're watching strong performances from players that was building excitement crater and crumble. And this organization is not helping this team. 107 losses and counting. But guess what? The status quo is going to remain. The big changes, they're not going to come to this team. They're not going to change anything. This doesn't matter to them. Or at least it feels that way. As I've said time and time again, I don't anticipate massive change coming from this season. And I don't anticipate a lot of improvement either. The Colorado Rockies now, according to Patrick Saunders here, by the way, the Padres tweet came from Patrick Lyons, making sure I attribute that. Padres blank Rockies 2-0. Rockies have not scored a run in 4 games at Petco this season and have lost 17 of their last 20 games. And most of those are division games. And then you can say, oh, the talent, it doesn't really matter. There are no more excuses to make it things. The team stinks. The development of the player stinks. The approach stinks. The pitching stinks. The offense stinks. The coaching stinks. The organization stinks. Plain and simple. They have so much work to do to start dragging this team out from the deepest depths of ineptitude that Major League Baseball has probably ever seen. As I said earlier this week, the Rockies might, and at this point, who knows? They might not win another game. At this rate, well, actually, with their system, they got 2 more losses in them, and then they don't lose 9 games in a row. They just have their multiple 8-game losing streaks. Don't worry, don't catch the Rockies on before they're about to lose their 9th game in a row. You're not going to do it, and they haven't happened yet. It's embarrassing, man. Like it's just flat out embarrassing. And I'm glad that we heard that the vibes and everything's okay. I would really like to hear some real honesty from Rockies players right now. There is no way that you can sit there and tell me that everything's hunky-dory there. There's no way you can sit there and tell me that everything's all peachy keen with everybody and, oh, we're just grinding through it. It's the grind set. Hey, every day is the opportunity. Awesome. Tell me how you actually feel about how this team is preparing you and helping you avoid those things. Because Ezekiel Tovar's striking out like mad. Michael Toglia, he can't stop striking out. Jordan Beck, striking out. Everybody, they just go up there on offense, and they're just. I understand the talent is better. The Rockies have been playing their division. They're all good. I got it. But again, we're talking about looking even competitive, and the Rockies haven't looked competitive now in just about every single one of these games against their division. 17 losses in 20 games. 17 losses. 14 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts, 12 strikeouts, double-digit strikeouts. And we're supposed to just sit here and say that everything's going to, this is all going to pan out and everything's going to be okay? No. It's so far broken, and it's so painfully obvious now. Not like it hasn't ever been. I mean, but there is no positive spin to take on this. There is no silver lining from this game. Let me see if there are. Let's see. Okay, the bullpen. We'll give the bullpen. How about that? The bullpen in 3 2/3, strike out 5, and only give up 1 hit. Shout outs to them. How about we'll at least give credit where credit is due. The bullpen in a close game kept it close, kept things in there. And, Brown didn't have a terrible game. 5 hits, 2 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts over 4 1/3. Not horrendous. But then it's on the backdrop of the fact that it's just abysmal approaches on offense. I'm glad Mickey Moniak has an extra hit game. I'm glad he does a cool slide. I'm glad that there was some tiny little things to make you feel a little bit better about it. Being shut out in back-to-back games and going a full calendar year, over a full calendar year from scoring at a division rival's ballpark. it sounds so ridiculous to even just say that. But when you're talking about the Colorado Rockies, nothing's too ridiculous because they do something ridiculous and create more bad history from themselves almost every single day. And it just feels like if this isn't the way to hold up a mirror to end the season for these guys to inspire a lot of change, I don't know what is. Because it was an interesting spot with how the second half of the season started, with them playing better baseball, with them being a better team at home. The Rockies were going to be able to spin zone some of this season. After this, there's just no way. There's no sugarcoating left. And if you buy any of their sugarcoating, I don't know what to tell you. More Locked On Rockies coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people, and it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. If you're noticing less shedding and healthier-looking hair after using Nutrafol, well, guess what? That's exactly what you're going to be looking for, and that's the type of stuff that you're going to see, whether you're at work, out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning. They're going to give you more confidence in your day. It's going to give you more confidence in that daily routine because you didn't notice how better your hair is looking and how much less shedding you're doing. You can feel good about knowing Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair and less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering a Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. So I like to talk to you about our friend Jambron here for the show, and he texted me this morning, and he says, listening to the pod, Paul Holden has reached rock bottom mentality. and by the way, thank you for those continuing to make us your first listen of the day. Thank you to those who tune into Locked On Rockies every day. Still, thank you for those that do care about the Rockies, about the show, and about everything. I do not blame you if you have taken a break or stepped away from the team or the coverage of it and moved on with other stuff in your life, because frankly, the rest of Colorado sports are a lot more entertaining and a lot more exciting. And there are teams that are in completely different places. It's just so fascinating to me that the rest of the major men's sports world, and I'm going to, hopefully good things for the new women's soccer team as well there and whatever, and college sports and all this stuff. It just seems so funny to me, like in the meetings, if there are, and it's all fictional, right? But in the meetings of Colorado sports ownership, like what do these other teams say or look at or think about the Rockies? You got the Broncos finding their new spot, and with their big business owners there, their big money, that Walmart money, privately funded stadium, boom, right on the verge of the most exciting Broncos season since the Super Bowl. Avalanche, boom, perennial contenders, a team that showed the Rockies how it should be done, where it's like, hey, we're going to hit the rock bottom. We're going to go through the tough season or two. And you know what it's going to give us? Literally some of the greatest hockey players of all time and at least one Stanley Cup. The Denver Nuggets, built around their player. They said they noticed and identified the talent. They said that guy right there that was drafted during a Gordito commercial is something special. And they learned going through last year that, you can't just scrape your way and just hope that it's only going to fall on the one guy. The Rockies could be learning and taking lessons from across the league, or not the league. I'm sorry. Well, they could be, but by their I don't know, peers. Is that the right way to say it? The other owners in Colorado. And again, different sports, different situations and everything. But why have all of those teams been so successful in navigating their downtimes? And again, the Broncos, I think, might not get a pass with that. The Broncos went through a lot of crap to get to where they are. But you know what happened? When they got to a low point, when they got to a point where they lost their identity, where they got to the point where people weren't buying what they were selling anymore, it was drastic change. Coaching change, ownership change, all this stuff. And I know that's really simplifying the Broncos ownership change. There's obviously a bajillion million more things and factors that go into that. But it is just fascinating to me that when you really think about it, it's not like most Colorado sports are thought of being bad teams. They're mostly been competitive. And then you get to the Rockies. And they aren't just an outlier in Denver standards. They're an outlier across sports. You always see those little memes and you see little things pop up about like worst run organizations. Oh, it's these teams, it's that team. You can't exclude the Rockies anymore. Misstep after misstep after misstep, leading into 7 straight losing seasons and 3 straight 100 loss seasons. You haven't scored at your opponent, your division rival's stadium in 4 games and over a calendar year. You've lost 17 of 20. You have multiple 8-game losing streaks. You have the league's worst ERA and pitching numbers by a long shot. You have the league's worst run differential by a long shot and are approaching never before seen numbers. There is a crisis here. There is a player development and evaluation crisis. There is a talent at the major league level crisis. There's a talent at the minor league level crisis. There are good players here, but there's nobody taking the steps and going to that next level and being the ones that strike the fear into every opponent, the ones that dominate the game. The Rockies don't have a Julio Rodriguez. And you can say what you want about Julio's, maybe not living up to some of the hype, but that's a young guy that has consistently improved on his seasons and has done things that few or if any players have done. And while Ezequiel Tovar has an argument for some of that stuff, he's got the gold glove and plenty of the ceiling. He's also regressed in the strikeouts, the health, maybe that's not being healthy and just the weight of the season and the Rockies asking them to do too much. The Rockies need to start operating into what they can do. They need to stop, trying to do too much, and they need to try to do what they can do to be successful. But again, when I watch this team, just especially in this latest stretch, and it's just blown away at the dish. It's few hits. It's no runs scored. It's being shut out. It's allowing crooked numbers. It all just goes back to how is this team making these players better, and how are we to expect these players to take the next step? And I just don't see it. My doubts are tremendously high, and it's not about just the player. It's not about just the players. It's about this team's ability to get them to that next level. And to just go back to my other Colorado sports team thing, I mean, that's what they've done. They have been successful in developing the players, creating the players, building rosters, getting the most out of their players. And the Rockies, when they had that, they balked and ran away and were scared of it and took the side of their yes man instead of their talent. They wanted to build around the yes man that walked around, that left the organization after crippling it. I guess not crippling it. There was other moves after that you could point to that. But after making the biggest trade in franchise history, just walks away. The Colorado Rockies don't make sense. They don't make sense as an organization. The moves they make doesn't make sense. The way they operate doesn't make sense. It's just constant confusion. It's constant lack of understanding. Is not only the product on the field continued to look down upon and looked at in a poor light, which how could you not? The organization as a whole is looked down upon. Randy says, my mind is crossing off the dates and looking forward to October 1st. This team is exhausting. At the last trade deadline, there was talk about all the players with potential who were picked up. Problem, this management team couldn't develop a case of diarrhea while eating at Taco Bell, let alone quality baseball players. Analytics, does Momford and Minions know what that means? I listen to a ball game, and I sometimes have to wonder if it's a road game or a home game. Goodman, Tovar, and Beck will be gone soon because Schmidt is threatened by player success, which begs the question of what their numbers might look like if they were on a team that gave more to development. Sad, simply sad. In a few weeks, the jersey will hang in my closet where it will hang in darkness along with my hopes for a better future for the Rockies. Go Broncos. I don't know how you would feel any differently. If you are and I mean this genuinely 100%. If your hope is still alive, if you're remaining hopeful, and again, the door never closes. Still watching the Rockies. We're still talking Rockies. We're still following the team through the thick and thin. I ain't going anywhere. But if you still feel confident in the team, I would love to know in the comments why. If it's what you've seen from Hunter Goodman in the performance this year, if you think that Doyle's got the real Doyle is last year's version mixed with some of the strengths that we've seen this year, I want to know what makes you feel confident as a Rockies fan. And I'd also like to know where your confidence level if you're not so confident. Let's put a bow on this thing, look ahead to the weekend for the Rockies, and break it all down right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That means you can get in on all the action. Live action, parlays, maybe you want to go for some props. Those $300 in bonus bets can go a long way, and you can win big. As long as you're playing responsibly, of course. You can use FanDuel because it's going to fit however you like to play. You bet, player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in as the live action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And when that first $5 bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's FanDuel.com. Locked On Rockies here, segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies, breaking all down for you here. As the Rockies have dropped 6 games in a row, Tanner Gordon taking on, who's the starter in this game here? JP Sears for the Padres, 8-10, 5.0 ERA with 1.30 whip and 125 innings pitched, 131 hits allowed, 105 strikeouts, 32 walks, and 27 home runs. So maybe, just maybe, the Rockies can score a run off of JP here. But they haven't seen him this year as he was previously with the Athletics. Actually, wait, let's see if they did see him earlier in the season because they did play. Yes, actually, that he did pitch against the Rockies back in April, 6 1/3 with 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, 2 strikeouts there in that one, and 2 walks as well. So, but again, kind of someone that's been fluctuating a little bit here. He only went 3 2/3 last time out. He's allowed at least a earned run in multiple starts. Basically, has allowed at least 1 earned run in every start since July the 10th. With since that time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 7 starts be allowing at least more than 2 runs. So maybe the opportunity for the Rockies to break the streak and get themselves some runs on the board there and get win number 41 so they can tie the Chicago White Sox for worst record of all time. and they can get one step closer to avoiding that moniker there. I must meet Tom York says, man, I do not blame you one bit for the bummer podcast. There's no bright spot. Yay, Goodman hit another home run, I guess. I've become so apathetic about the Rockies that anytime they do something well or go on some dinky winning streak, I know it isn't going to last because no real changes are being made. Drives me crazy. Also, why is Tolia here? Replacing Warming Burning Bell on the IL is really the main reason there. Why does the pitching coach still have a job? I don't know. Also, God, there's so many questions. I'm just going to stop here. And Jim earlier said, have they given up? Have they given up trying to win some of the final games? I mean, this is it's a small sample size, sure, but just like again, I just go back to it, and if you're a genuine fan of this team, if the Rockies are the team you root for, I just don't know how you don't feel like this. I don't know how you don't feel, and it's sports, it's baseball. There's a lot going on in the real world. There are bigger fish to fry here. But if caring about the Rockies is what you choose, is your fandom and what you choose to do, like I do, this just straight up sucks. They're not fun to watch right now. And again, as much as we clamored for the young guys and all that stuff, it's still good that the Rockies have turned young here. That doesn't mean it makes it any more enjoyable. It doesn't mean make the pill easier to swallow. And you know what else doesn't make the pill easier to swallow? Hearing that Chase Dolander's season is probably done. Patrick Saunders here writes, I believe this was from Patrick. Was this from Patrick Saunders? Let's see. I'm going to have to go. Let me see. Yeah, it was from Patrick Saunders. I'm told that Rockies right-handed pitcher Chase Dollander will go on the IL and miss his next start with his knee injury. His rookie season is likely over. Awesome. Fun. And again, it's not like to poo-poo it. It's not like one more start was going to change everything, but it's like that's the type of stuff that you want to watch over this last stretch of the season, because I certainly can't wait for them to not. I love the fact that they get to end on the Giants at the Giants, and the Giants on the verge of completing a huge comeback for the postseason. Super cool. And it's not good. It's not good hosting of me to be this sour. It's not. But I'm facing a very tough challenge right now. Even if it's like, hey, make sure that you're going in there and finding the good things. Mickey Moniak, 2 hits and a cool stolen base. That's the cool stuff that happened tonight. And the bullpen. And so maybe I need to just keep focusing on the successes, I guess, or do more focusing on the successes. But those are just dwarfed by the fact that the Rockies haven't scored a run at Petco Park in over 400 days. I just can't get that out of my head. I just can't get these things out of my head, and I just can't get the inaction and the inactivity and the likely lack of response from the team to this season. I just am not convinced that and I hope I'm wrong, but we'll just have to see. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night, and you can also check out more Colorado sports coverage. Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.